Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Now on here we're going to be talking about different tyre compounds, to stocks all the way up to drag tyres, why people use them. There's a lot of hate in this community when it comes to what tyres you can use for drifting. Now when it comes to tandem drifting, you are only allowed to use stocks, streets or sport. Now there's a reason behind this, and you'll see the reason in this video. And then we'll talk about points drifting. So in the tandem world, one of the main reasons why you can only use stock, streets or sport tyres is because the more you go up on your tyre compound, the quicker you drift. It doesn't really make no difference to your angle, to your angle, to your points or anything like that. It doesn't make the angle a lot easier. It doesn't make the car handle a lot better. The only difference is the speed you drift at. So you can see at the moment I'm on stock tyres and I'm drifting rather slow. Now don't get me wrong, you can drift very quick on stocks by changing your tuning setups around a little bit, changing your camber on your rear wheels and your toe in and your toe out and stuff like that. You can adjust that to drift quick on stocks, but that's why they've basically, in the tandem world, the only tyres you can use is stock, streets and sports. Stock, streets and sports. They're the only tyres you're allowed to use, because as you go up in your tyre compound, your angle doesn't get better, the car stability doesn't get better, you just drift a hell of a lot quicker. That's all. That's the difference. That's why they've basically said you can only use 3 tyre compounds. Now when it comes to points drifting, I get it all the time for using drag tyres on drifting. I get all the hate under the sun. Now the reason why I use drag tyres is because when you drift online lobbies, if you drift slow, you will get rammed. You will get rammed left, right and centre. So I use drag tyres because they're the quickest tyres you can use for drifting. The amount of speed what you can get with drag tyres is absolutely unreal. I mean, I've got someone what comes into, cause I stream daily on Twitch, if you feel like coming across. I stream daily on Twitch, and it's like a few people come in and it's like, wait, Kitty, there's a few people what's made the move over to drag tyres, and even they've said it's the only difference is you drift quicker. That's it. And that's one of the main reasons why points drifters use drag tyres online, because unlike tandeming, in the points drifting world, there isn't no specific set of rules what you've got to abide to. It's just getting the most points with what you've got, or with what you can do. That's why there's no limitation on how much you can upgrade your car. There's no limitation to how much power you can run. There's no limitation to what tyres you can run, because when it comes to points drifting, it's basically you've got to get the maximum amount of points the best way you can. That's why you see only certain people using the Plymouth Fast and Furious car, because that is a point whore. Basically that car can get the maximum points on any corner without a tune, with just a drifting suspension on. You do not need to tune that car, just chuck the drift suspension on. With drag tyres, you're done for. That's why all your top drifters use that car, because it's got 2,000 horsepower, it weighs a ton, so it will slide round any corner, and it's just a boss mode basically. And like I said, there's no rules to tyres, so that's why we use drags. But if you bring us into like the leaderboards, or if we do a solo, because I run a lot of private lobbies all the time, if I'm running a private lobby or running a leaderboard, then I will take the drag tyres off and put stock tyres on, for the simple reason is I don't need to drift at 80, 90, 100 mile an hour around the corner in solo or on the leaderboards run. So that's why I run stocks when I'm not playing multiplayer. The only thing what matters on points drifting is that the meters on your right hand side, the angle, your line and your speed. That's it. That's all what matters. and you've got to get them on 10 on them all to get the most points. So you do what you can to get all them on 10, and there's no limitations to it. Whereas with tandem drifting, to make it fair across the board, they've set limitations depending on which rule set you want to go by. So I go by the old school rule set back on Forza Motorsport 3, Forza Motorsport 4, where it's no more than 650 brake horsepower. You can't use you can't use any tyre compound higher than sports. You're not allowed to run no positive camber, because positive camber makes your drifting a lot more easier and more stable. So that's why you're not allowed to use positive camber, and negative camber only, tow out, rear wheel drive, 650 horsepower, no more than sports. That's the old school setup. Now under the new rule setup of the SSR, I'm not 100% aware on these, so I do apologise about this, but I believe with them it's no more than 500 brake horsepower. You can use positive camber on your rear wheels only, which I disagree with. I'll get onto that in a moment. And your tyre width goes onto the weight of your car. So if your car's X amount of weight, then you can go up to a certain tyre width, or you can't use no more than a certain tyre width, if that makes sense. And there are rule sets like that, and the reason for that in tandeming is because tandem drifting, the competition on that and the scoring is how close people can get onto your door and follow you around the track and chase you, and how far you can pull away from someone. But if there was a free-for-all like there were in points, then nobody's going to get on nobody's door, because everyone's going to be running max horsepower and getting max angle, and it's not going to make it fun. That's why there's limitations in the tandem rule set, to make it fair, to make it somewhat of a level playing field. Because, yeah, don't get me wrong, you can use same car, but your setup's going to be different, and you've got to try and match that person's door. That's why, like I said, there's limitations in the tandem world. But when it comes across to points drifting, it's who can get the most points with whatever car they've got. That's where it comes to. And when it comes to positive camber, the reason why I strongly disagree with using positive camber, don't get me wrong, I have used it in past. This is why I know all this about it. If you use positive camber on the front, and your front wheels, should I say, if you use positive camber on your front wheels, then it basically means you cannot spin your car out. It is extremely hard for you to spin your car out if you're using positive camber on your front wheels. If you're using positive camber on your if you're using positive camber on your rear wheels, then it is very, very easy to step your car out sideways. But once your car gets to a certain angle, like 45 degrees for instance, then your car will not step over that angle, and it will drift extremely quick. Now the angle limitations, like what I've just said then, it's different between each car. Some cars can get 20 degrees, lock out at 20 degrees without spinning, other cars for 45 and so on. I believe with this Nissan GTR, I believe it's around 60 degrees it locks out at, and it won't spin anymore. But this is just with negative camber or no camber, because you've all seen my tuning set up for this. It's on my YouTube a couple of videos back, so you know what I've run on this car. But with you do get that lockout with negative camber, but with positive camber you get it at a lower angle. So what that means is you can then, instead of drifting around the corner at 30 mile an hour, you can then drift around that corner at 40, possibly 45, 50 mile an hour, which gives you a massive advantage to the person you are following, or giving chase to, or their chase, or if you're a lead car. Now this is why I strongly disagree with positive camber, because it gives you too much of an advantage. And don't get me wrong, if you want your car to drift really quick, you can. There's other ways and means to do that, with tyre pressure, using a little bit of tow, camera angle, downforce on your spoiler. You know, there's many other different ways to do that to get your car to drift the same speed. But the reason why people love positive camber is because all you've got to do is stick 2 degrees positive camber on and just leave it. You don't have to do tyre pressure, you don't have to do camber, you don't have to do toe, you don't have to worry about anything else. Just stick 2 degrees positive camber on and you're done. That's it. The car will drift, and it doesn't matter if that camber's on your front or your rear, it just will drift with that little positive camber on there. That's why I strongly disagree with it. Now, that's probably going to get some hate in the comment section, but don't get me wrong, I'm not going to tell you how to drift your car. Your game, you play it however you want to play it, you drift however you want to play it. Do you know what I mean? Your game, you bought it, you play it however you want. If you want to drift positive camber, go ahead, drift positive camber. You want to drift negative camber, go ahead, drift negative camber. You want to drift rear wheel drive, all wheel drive, front wheel drive, go ahead, you do that. I ain't got a problem with it. Personally, I just drift rear wheel drive on Forza 7, but it's your choice. You paid for the game, it's your choice how you play it. But when it comes to competitions, there has to be a rule set. That's why there's rule sets when it comes to tandem. When it comes to points, there's no competition for points unless someone sets it up privately off an off chance. Then they can put whatever rules they want, but there's no like underlining rule what you need to use, if that makes any sense. So that's why when it comes to points drifting, literally anything will go. Sorry about that, I had to mute my recording. Ice cream man pulled up on Endett Road. But yeah, like I say, I hope that explains everything to you, and don't hate. And the moral of this is there's no difference between tyres. Play the game however you want to play it, and don't hate on people because they're playing the game what they've bought. But don't call people out for stuff what they're not doing and block them so they can't give you a response. Don't be toxic, basically. At the end of the day, you bought the game, so you play the game how you want to play that game. Don't play the game how I want you to play that game, because I've not paid for that game for you, and vice versa. So, but this is just like a little bit of an explanation why there's hate behind certain drivetrains, why there's hate behind certain hate behind tyre compounds, and which ones people think you should use. There's no difference between them. The only difference is the speed you drift at. That's why in the tandem world they don't allow anything more than sport tyres, because the higher the tyre compound, the quicker you drift. You don't get more angle, you don't get, there's no, the only difference is instead of drifting at 30 miles an hour, you're drifting at 40 miles an hour, maybe 45. That's the difference. There's no difference in angle, there's no difference in points. That's it. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy this video anyway. And I'm going to jump off now, and hopefully this has explained a lot to you. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and peace out.